Hey, what's going on, guys? Phil here with podcast 210, and we are back with Daeron, aka the community manager, aka the Beard of Wisdom, aka the Sword of Stone Puller. I don't know. What other title are we going to go with? The Beard of Infinite Possibilities, Your Majesty, Lord Beardship. Should I just...
the data input.
The data input?
Yeah, right now I feel like... so I just kind of basically finished reading, listening, and watching everything that's been sent in. Now, that being said, I haven't listened to Nutty's podcast, and I haven't read some stuff that was sent in to me today. However, all the big stuff, I had a long list, man. So yeah, I feel like my head is just crammed with data now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or does it feel like this week just went by really quick? Is that just like... I feel like we just did this, and this was last Friday.
Dude, when we were sound checking for this, I was thinking this week has zoomed by. Like, we've done 3 of these now.
Yes.
Of course, the first one was just a couple days that I was working. And then, yeah, it seems like it's zooming by.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I think I said it last time. I'm waking up, getting on my computer, and all of a sudden it's the end of the day.
Yeah. Just hello, world.
Hello, world.
How much coffee are you drinking per day? Like,
in the last 2 weeks, I have probably had more coffee than I have in the previous 2 months. Yeah, I'm drinking more. I was actually, over the summer, I cut my coffee intake down. I just realized I started drinking less. I wasn't finishing my full mug in the morning. I wasn't finishing it at night. I was kind of cutting back a little bit, but gone.
I mean, I'm glad you're back. I mean,
yeah, I know, right? You know. Back to the dark side, dark roast.
Well, dude, yeah, like, I mean, obviously, I a lot of discussion. I want to ask you, I guess, like, obviously last week, you were saying, you know, you're excited for moving forward because you felt like you were getting close to where you can start having communication and talks with the community. And obviously,
keep this momentum going.
Yeah, and I feel like, I guess I have to ask, like, what is the relationship there with Matt and the communication, and then, of course, with Russ? Because when I asked you last time, you know, pretty much it seems like if you guys like an idea and it fits the mold, you guys are just going to roll with it from the community. And so obviously I want to say it's a lot of power. That's a lot of responsibility. And so, like, and trust and stuff like that. So how is that behind the scenes? How are things progressing in that regard? Because obviously moving forward, you're going to have to take some of these ideas and say, okay, this is what we're doing. And, you know, what do you think, community?
So totally agree. I think we touched on that last week too. The how big of a responsibility is, both in terms of scale, being able to accomplish this in the first place, and also do right by the community and the players, right? So that weighs on me heavily. Sometimes I'm, you know, going to bed at night and I just think about the situation, you know, just everything else aside. Here we are, 2020, and I have the ability to help the community build on Mechwarrior Online and make it fun for 4 or 5 more years, right? Huge task, because people love the game still, the people that do, and there's a lot of passion there. So as far as behind the scenes, basically these first 2 weeks, Russ has really allowed Matt and I to just kind of dive in to the data coming in. More so myself. Matt's very involved in a lot of stuff still, but I will say Matt's listened to every single one of your podcasts. He listened to the comp podcast, the comp stream, and he's staying very much on top of everything, which has been awesome because he and I can chat about it. But really, these first 2 weeks, it's just been taking it all in, right? We asked the community to send it in, and oh boy, did they. And so Russ has kind of stepped back, let us do that. He's working on a lot of stuff, but this coming week, the 3 of us are meeting. And so what that meeting is going to be is basically letting him know our findings, you know, what are the standouts? What do we think might be possible? What are our feelings about the information that's coming in? But again, as I said last time, in the end, it doesn't matter what I think and what I think will work or want or anything like that. But what matters is taking all this information and putting it into a solid, workable plan that we can execute and we can deliver, right? So that's the important thing. So basically, this coming week, the three of us are going to meet. I've compiled all the data I've read, listened to, and watched, and I'm going to show it to him, present it. And then from there, I think, we're going to look at the data, try and decide what we think are some key points that are maybe pillars or roadmap points that we can achieve, and then bring it to you guys, the community, and really hash out the shit, right? Like, I haven't gotten too far into the statistics and the numbers and the decimal points and stuff, because really I don't want to yet, right? Why go down those rabbit holes? I won't even say that rabbit hole. There's so much data in the background.
Sure.
There's Lowry has provided me a lot of, the numbers, the data, that you can definitely see trends with and all that stuff. Very valuable. It's good to know the data. However, I want to know what direction we're thinking we want to go first before we start exploring the minute details. I know we're going to have extended conversations along those lines, right? And the community is very much into their data. Like I said, the amount of information coming in is huge. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be basically, I took 2 weeks to take it all in. Next week, we start kind of looking at that data, well, I've already been organizing it, but organizing a plan, potentially. It's not the plan. It's maybe even 3 potential plans, or three paths that we can see going forward with the data that we got from everybody, and then take that and probably bring it to you guys.
Sure.
In whatever format, whether that's town halls or roundtables or multiple, start discussing the ideas that you presented and that we can build a consensus on, that we see a lot of people want. Sure. And then start hashing them out. Because I have gotten feedback from some developers on some of that information that, either fully supports it, we can totally do this, to this is going to take some,
sure,
engineering time.
But I feel like that's that stuff right there.
Yeah.
Is very important that the community needs to hear it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, for instance, if an artist comes to you and says, hey, I'm just rescale, because we had Mark in the chat, and I asked him, does that affect animation or does it affect textures? And he says it does affect animation, but it doesn't affect textures. Okay, well, what kind of workload are you talking about? Like, okay, that's reasonable, like month or two, or it's like, hey, just FYI, that would take like 6 months. Okay, that's shelf that.
Yep,
put it on down the road, and stuff like that.
So what I'll be doing is getting developer input as we move on from next week. So as we start looking at the possible paths forward with the information we've received, then it will be a matter of getting those very exact professional opinions on, each topic or whatever. So that's, it's going to be an interesting feat, because basically we're going to be putting together a business plan with the community, right? I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so a part of any business plan is bringing in the professionals, the ones that know every one of those aspects of developing a game, or continuing developing, or upgrading, or whatever it is, So yeah, we're going to get that input as well. So that way it's not just me saying, hey, that's really tough to do, or to, that's not good enough. We need the actual data, the actual reasons things can happen, can't happen, but will take a long time, can happen, will take a short time, all that stuff. We need those people's input. So we'll be bringing that into the discussion. So I'm hoping that the discussions can start happening within a week or two or something like that, and start expanding on the information that was given to us.
Yeah, and I think this is actually really important, because with the community podcast that just happened, there were certain topics that they said, hey, we think this is really important, but the reason we don't really want to talk about it that much is because it's a lot of potential work. Therefore, we need to understand where PGI is coming from and that collaboration. And one of those is like skill tree, rescale, stuff like that. Because not only does that touch, like, skill tree itself affects so many, it affects balance. I mean, it affects the obviously quality of life, but new player experience. It affects potentially quirks too, because I mean, there's certain things that you can mold there, and so like, what is and that's why I was you know, I'm glad I had Tori on, because Tori basically said the same thing, because you know, I proposed, well, why don't we just go back to the old system, and so did Mike. But they also bring up, well then you have to distribute skill points again, you know, and then you have to explain to players when they log in, now you're going to have to re-click, and then you have to explain to new players another, you know, like, so it's just one of those things where Tori was like, well, you can achieve all of what you're basically thinking. You can reduce everything down, have it based on variant or quirks, whatever, but just reduce the node counts and how it looks. And it's funny enough, the community sort of did that a while back too. Solima had a post that had an example skill tree too, and there's been other examples that I've seen too. So the cool thing with that is I see exactly where they're coming from, and it's great because from this perspective they're bringing this angle, and then from a programmer perspective is really nice, because he's like, you can achieve that, and the fastest route probably there is just utilizing the systems there, but then making it fit what you're wanting, instead of basically wiping it away, going back to an old system that has to be explained. Then you have to distribute, you know, all this stuff. And so, yeah.
Everything has really cool
repercussions,
whether they're seen or unseen, you know, like everything is like a spider crack going out, and it's just got all these, you know, and for sure that, you know, that's why we bring in the professionals, right? Because they're going to be able to go exactly like Tori did.
Well, I mean,
and see that stuff ahead of time, and you know.
Well, I mean, even from your perspective, someone talking about, okay, let's have an open conversation about 8v8. You know, like I'm not convinced it's the end all be all, but I'm also convinced that it's not something that we should talk about, especially when like Paul made 8v8 for, I think it was about 2 weeks, they said, and everybody loved the 8v8 when it was going on. But then my kickback to the idea would be like, okay, let's just say metaphorically we did 8v8. Should it be 4-man groups? Should it be 2-man groups? Should you let 2 to 8-man groups? What are the consequences? What are the goals? What does the community want? What is the representation? Do you want it a hardcore, I call it a sweaty group, because it might become competitive again in that sense? Or do you also concede that, just like how we've recognized that groups are really able to sway the outcome of the matches, and there are casual people that want to play with their friends in groups, that maybe, just maybe, it should lean towards more casual, and you just let matchmaker figure it out. You know, it's just one of those things where I don't know. To me, I want to ask the questions so the discussion happens. Like, if you feel a certain way and you feel like, all I'm trying to do is not poke holes in it, but I'm trying to just sort of say, like, you know, like, is there something we're not seeing? Is there something, you know,
you have to poke holes in it. If you don't attempt to poke holes in it, you're not going to know whether it has holes. And if we embark on an endeavor here, and then 3 months down the line we find all these holes because we didn't try poking them, then we're in trouble, right? And so you absolutely have to do that. You have to have the discussion. You have to have the discussion amongst ourselves. We have to have the discussion with the community, and we have to have the discussion with the programmers and the technical people that know each element of development. And the other thing that I want to be able to do, like, obviously the groups that we talk to, right, it's going to be content creators, streamers. We talk to the comp scene. We know, you know, we're getting a good representation from the comp scene, units, people that play faction warfare together. We're getting a certain element of input, but there's a big piece of input that we're not getting, and that's all the casual gamers that just log in, and that's a huge percentage, man, that don't have anything to do with. I mean, they'll have their friends.
That's the majority of players.
Yeah, actually. But they don't. But they're not involved in the NGNG podcasts or the forums or Reddit or anything. You know, the Twitter account. They're just playing a freaking game that they have. You know,
and I mentioned that today to Ash, because I was like, you know, like, I don't know the percentage, but let's just say you poll the people, let's just say it's 1,000 people in a month. I mean, that could be, I don't know how many people are actually playing the game in a month's period of time. You know, Russ mentioned 10,000 people a day. How many unique? I guess my point
in a month, it's 40,000. It's 10,000 uniques a day and 40,000 in a month.
Yeah, so that's a that's a big difference. Like, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
so the percent, and like I said, I'm not saying you're like anybody's wrong. I like, and again,
No.
especially on the discussion improve MWO via that stream they did, the podcast, I call it podcast. It was a podcast.
Yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that I was, and some of them I didn't even really think about, like, you know, the disconnect penalty that like they brought. To me, it's like, it's a no-brainer.
There's no brainers, exactly.
Right.
So
like, I'm just like, oh yeah.
There's nobody that's going to be upset with
Yes.
you making that change.
Yes.
So yeah, obviously through all the input, we have our no-brainers.
Yeah.
We have our low-hanging fruit no-brainers. You know, just some easy fixes. Certainly those exist. But what I am interested in getting is the data from this huge chunk of our population that just doesn't communicate, you know, and isn't part of the community other than that they play the game and they love the game.
You know what's really funny is more pointing towards how do you and who do you ask that's left the game? Like, how do you get that information? And now, granted, there have been people that have been responding that have
I've gotten
right.
I've gotten
but,
tons of repeat responses from people.
But I guess what I'm saying is that's the real question. And I think funny enough, Tori brought it up on a Twitch stream like 2 weeks ago, and he was like, you know, this is all well and good, but it's like the people that have left is where you really, because the people that are here have literally stuck through everything, and that thick and thin, and that's amazing. Those are your like, and I'm not even going to say the other fans aren't hardcore fans either, because real life, other games, maybe they just you know, like, hey, I just
there's 100 reasons.
You know,
it's been out for 8 years, whatever.
But it's how do you get those people back, or how do you get them in the conversation? How do you, you know, grab them, you know, and be like, hey, there's changes happening, you need to come back.
Part of the, you know, getting them to be a part of this conversation, that's extremely difficult, right? Because we really have nothing to pull them back now other than conversation and promises that changes could be coming or whatever. And so that's difficult. Although, like I said, I've been contacted by so many people that gave me not only the information that they have left the game, but exactly why and when they've left the game. And so that's extremely helpful, right? Because this caused them to leave. So there, you know, that raises a red flag for whatever that is that they're discussing. I think as far as bringing them back, right now, I'm only aware of kind of 2 ways to do that. And that's word of mouth, you know, from us doing something. And then the result is, you know, they tell their friend who they know stopped playing 3 years ago, dude, you've got to come check MWO out again. So, right, that's one way. And then the other way, I think, is just straight up advertising, you know, like putting, again, this is going to be post changes, because we have to kind of put out either, you know, a trailer or a, you know, something to show what MWO is like in 2021 or whatever, right? Reasons for them. They'll see what's going on, and or paying influencers or whatever. Somehow we've got to bring them back, and they're not going to just stumble in, right? So it's going to be word of mouth, it's going to be advertising, and I'm open to suggestions. That's another thing, you know, if people have suggestions not only about how they want to change the game, but if they have suggestions as far as how they think we can pull people back in or get new players or anything like that, I'm totally open to it, man. I know a lot of stuff about marketing, and so does Matt, but we don't know everything, certainly. And people have great ideas. You know, somebody sent me something about a Twitch feature. I forgot what it's called.
Well, they've got drops. Drops.
So right. So somebody sent me that.
Oh my God, that'd be great.
No, I know. And I saw that, and I'm like, this is freaking brilliant, and this is awesome. And so, you know, that I maybe would have found that otherwise, but really, I have to thank the person that sent it to me because,
Warframe does it, I mean, all like Apex does it, Destiny does it, and it's fantastic. Like
I think that kind of stuff is cool. You know that, though. I like supporting streamers, and
so, but that would be one of those things is like, okay, you'd have to literally talk to an engineer and say like, again, you know, like, hey, Brian,
I'm not saying it's happening. I'm saying I like Twitch drops.
But what I'm saying is like, that would be like, okay, hey, I asked our lead engineer, how much time would it take to get that? And he said it takes like 3 days of like, boom, we're going to do it. It's a hands down, and we're going to work with you. Hey, it's like a month, like 30 days of like, you know.
Then we have to decide, is
that worth it?
On the investment?
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, like when we tackle this plan, when we set up a roadmap for whatever we're going to do with MWO, It doesn't mean that, and I think we touched on this last week. Whatever we decide initially doesn't mean that everything else therefore is shit and we're not going to do it.
Sure.
You know, things can happen over time. What we're looking for is the initial steps to take to make the most impact, the most positive impact on the game in as short a time as possible. Sure. And to, you know,
and then have to me, it's more like you're
movement.
putting an actual roadmap that's going to be openly discussed, community validated, and community
driven,
inspired and driven.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, what if some of the best times in MWO are 2021 moving forward? I mean, really, I mean, that's the goal, right? I mean, it's...
Yes, absolutely.
So,
you know, again, I mean, that gets overwhelming. When you just said that, I got like this feeling like, oh God.
Like, oh God. No pressure, Daeron. No pressure.
No pressure at all. I'm feeling the pressure. Like, I mean, just straight
Good.
Up,
you need
to be
it.
honest, I'm totally...
Keeps you alive.
Yes, I do.
That's not a heart attack. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not here. No, but I'm feeling it, but that's good because that means that we can actually do that, you know, like, and I'm excited. I don't see the path, like I was saying, you know, like next week, I expect to sit down with Russ and kind of present, you know, a few different options based on the input that we've got. Okay, now let's begin the next step. And that would be discussing it with the community. That'd be discussing it with the engineers and the, you know, the correct people. And here we go, man. That's the ball rolling. Like, and so we got to be really careful. It's poking all the holes that we can because we don't want to pick the wrong path. We don't want to pick the wrong features or make the wrong choices and blow this opportunity. I still see it as just an immense opportunity, and I'm just grateful to be here to help facilitate it. Gotcha. But you know, from all the feedback, I'm the same as I was last week, the same as the week before. I'm totally pumped. I'm totally excited, and so is Matt. You know, and we're putting a lot of work into what we've done so far. I have been spending a little bit of time this week on some Mech 5 stuff, but I'm, you know, 90% focused on MWO. Mech 5 is going to be exciting as well. You know, it's cool to sit in on the meetings and hear everything that's going on. But yeah, man, I know all the Catalyst shipments are going out.
Mine, I just got my email today. Yeah.
Did you? So, you know, I was talking to Lowry, and it's still has that feeling of it's a great freaking time to be a Mechwarrior, you know, and time goes by quick, man. You know, it's going to be 5 years before we know it, and who knows what's happening with the Mechwarrior IP after that, right? Yeah. Maybe something, maybe nothing, who knows? But right now, we got this window of opportunity, and I still want to have a great time being a fan of the BattleTech Mechwarrior universe, and still going.
Gotcha.
Still going, man.
You know, obviously you mentioned those discussions with the community. You're meeting with Russ, Matt, and yourself next week, and whoever else. You know, is this one of those things where by this conversation, maybe next week, if we have it next Friday, you know, do you estimate within the next month you're going to start having those community discussions? Like time?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so just sort of a timeline for people, like, hey, is this going to take 6 months, a month? What are we talking about?
No, man, like I was saying, I'd like to start having the community. First of all, it's not going to be just like one round table and we're done, you know, and we're going to present our plan or whatever. I anticipate it's going to be multiple discussions, and it might be multiple stages of this proposed development cycle. It might be multiple topics, you know, or multiple topics in multiple stages. Who knows? I anticipate it being a lot of discussion, you know, and I would like to see it happening within a couple weeks. Now, you know, there's always an asterisk on the stuff I say because I don't know what's going to happen with our discussion next week. I don't know, you know, we're super busy. It's not like I'm sitting around twiddling my thumbs at all. And so it's going to be, it'll play out like it plays out. But for sure, before a month, I'm hoping within a couple weeks we're starting to have the community discussions on various platforms. Whether that be, I love the old style of the roundtables and so forth, because we could go topic by topic and really dive into it. And so I want to get.
I'll volunteer for moderator. How about that? You know.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man, it's coming. It's right around the corner, and that's the thing. Is like, I don't want to lose this momentum and this excitement. I still feel it from all the emails. I got a bunch of emails in today. And I haven't even been. Last time I've put my email out there telling people, "Hey, send it in," was last Friday on this podcast, right? And so people are still trickling through or reading the forum posts or whatever and sending stuff in. And so there's, like I said, there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of excitement, and I want to keep that going. If we don't have discussions for another 2 months or something like that, that's going to kill a lot of that enthusiasm, momentum, excitement. So we got to just keep going as fast as we can. That's the key, though, as fast as we can. I literally just today pretty much got caught up with a mountain of information. And that's why I've been drinking so much coffee.
And it's one of those things where, like, you guys come up with a roadmap, but, maybe, just maybe, a lot of those no-brainers, low-hanging fruit that you talked about, that has nothing to do with the overall direction of MWO, but just should be stuff like, that should have been
just
done
nice fixes, right?
4 years ago. Maybe, just maybe, those are, things that, like, within the next few months, just start. And, I was thinking about, like, the patch, MWO used to have a patch per month. No, was it every week? Jesus. No, it was every week.
Was it every week in the beginning?
Like, it was insane, like, what they were doing.
There's a lot.
Right. But the more I think about it too, is like, I don't think quarterly would be like crazy either. Cause I mean, that gives you, 3 months of, and then whatever comes out, fixes, adjustments, quirks, skill tree, mechs, map adjustments, whatever it is. I mean, I feel like that's one of the issues where, like, the pressure isn't like, hey, you have a month, go, right? Like, and that, I'm wondering what it would be like.
I would love to see, whether it be quarterly or twice a year, whatever. I'd like to see regular update windows, and for all of us, the community and the PGI, to know this is coming. You know, so what do we have in this next window of opportunity? What can we do? I would love to see that, man, and building up the development team again and working towards that. I think I absolutely would love to see us tackle some low-hanging fruit, quality of life stuff, just to show we're serious, with no strings attached. Just
Jay-Z brought up the in the community podcast, they were talking about trial mechs, and he was the one who did them, and I was like, I guarantee if you just ask Jay-Z right now, he will bend over backwards, get you an all new set, and if you asked him, he would do that monthly. Whether or not you want to do trial mix monthly, but my point being is, like, those are the type of community members out there that are right. Yeah, exactly. And so why not go ahead and, instead of waiting 3 months, like, to me, I guess that's my, like, would be like, hey, on that stuff, like, there's already systems in place to start getting that.
I'm not opposed to that at all. I'm not opposed to that at all.
There you go, Jay-Z.
In fact, and Jay-Z and I talk occasionally on Discord, so that wouldn't be a difficult discussion to get going. And I think there's a lot of ways that the community can pitch in, and have always pitched in, and are always super willing. We have the best community out there, in my opinion, like I've always said. So I'd love to see stuff like that happen. And, and in fact, another area where people could really help out, I've already got some really cool suggestions, but basically optimizing the store. This isn't greed speaking, like all we care about is money, money, money. It's not that at all. It's that if we optimize and update our store to something that's a little bit more current, and I'm not talking about, again, wiping the slate clean, although I love the idea of starting over or switching our monetization methods. I'm talking about working within what we have now. I'd love to optimize and update the store, like just, total random example is, some people were saying, put in metallic colors, metallic paints, or starter packs, or clan-based packs, or unit-based packs, or whatever. A lot of ideas have come in, and I love that. If people out there have ideas for updating, optimizing the store, please send them in. My ears are wide open. I think it needs it badly. I think our store is outdated.
So with that, I guess the question and request would be is, if you could get, because whoever does this internally has a spreadsheet of all of the current numbers. If that was just, because I mean, it's just basically saying, like, the executioner to buy it for MC is this much. Like if you did that, then it just basically gives a template for people right now to like work with, instead of them having to go in game, click mech, how much is this? I'm just tossing that out there. That also might be, if it's easily available. But yeah, like
I've heard a lot of great ideas. People have sent in a lot of good stuff. We've talked about stuff too.
I mean, a new player pack like
would be huge. I want to increase what new players get in the first place.
Oh yeah,
I think it's too limited, and if they need a mech, spend all their money on a crappy mech, you know, because they didn't know that it was, you know, crappy, then they're screwed for a while, and that could result in them leaving the game. You know,
I mean, and the idea of like you give them 4 mech bays. I would venture to say, I mean, World of Tanks gives you a few tanks. World of Warships gives you a few, you know, like, what if you gave them, I mean, it doesn't have to be the best light mech or the best medium, but like a solid starter, like to a medium and a heavy or something, or one of each. Like,
I'm not against it at all, man.
Like that, you know, like I said,
very open to that idea. I think we need to, you know, we need to do.
And get them out of a tier 3, hands down. Yeah. Put them in tier 4. 4.5. I had poor guy today. Cadet. We're on Grimplexus.
Yeah.
And he's down there by himself. And I'm on comms. I'm like, hey man, you need to get out of there. And I see the enemy just converging, and he's just he's in a Centurion 9A. Obviously a purchase.
How do I do this?
And he just dies in a ball of fire. And then I was just like, that could have been like, luckily he was good spirited about it, but I'm like,
yeah,
I'm a tier 1. He should not.
No, so we'll look at that. I don't know the arguments, you know, for it or against it from a developer's or designer standpoint. So I need to hear that from what you just said. Sure, it makes sense to me, right? Yeah. But I don't know the other side. What I do know is that I don't take the new player experience lightly. I want to do everything that we can to make the new player experience better, so that we can retain those people and not lose them to frustration or confusion or whatever. So yeah, man, I'm all over that. Like I think that's significantly important. But yeah, I mean, that's about where we're at. We're getting really close, and I'm feeling it. Yeah, I'm gonna be working through this weekend probably. I know we've been discussing
like, you gotta
keeping
take the
schedules
time off.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm going to, and I've been doing a decent job at keeping myself on a work schedule. But I did work last weekend too. I worked on Saturday. But the thing is, here's what it is, and this is why I feel like I was right for the position, is because I feel the importance of this task. Like I feel the heaviness of the weight of what I've been given here, and to go, well, it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever, I'm done thinking about it. It just doesn't, it doesn't work, you know, like as much as I want to. And I am going to continue working as hard as I can to make sure that I have my work time and my family time. But right now this is too,
so you want to see the ball continue rolling.
It's got to be done right, man. If it's not done right, then what's the point in even doing this? And
yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So, and I've even told my wife, you know, like, I'm gonna work this weekend.
I'm gonna be grinding. I'm gonna be hustling.
And she knows what the you know why, and she knows what we're trying to achieve, and I just want to make sure I don't fuck this up. That's the bottom line, you know. Like I wouldn't be able to live with that. So that's why I feel like I was the right person to bring this, you know, to bring in and do this, or at least one of the right people. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. Going to be working this weekend and meeting with Russ and Matt next week, and you know, as we're coming up, it's going to be November soon,
dude.
And
oh my gosh,
and December, and yeah.
Well, and then we are, and that's one thing too, I guess, just to sort of bring up for people and expectations as well. You're going to have Thanksgiving soon. It's going to
be a holiday break.
We have the holiday and the New Year break, so just keep in mind, really, right now we have a month. We have like it's like 4 weeks basically of really 4 weeks. I mean, maybe 5, 2 in December.
Yeah.
ish. Okay, you know, like it's just one of those things. Like,
I mean, obviously the major leaps forward are going to happen in 2021, right? But what I'd like to see with the rest of this year is really freaking good discussion and really coming to a plan, you know. So that's what I'd like to see happen.
I mean,
yeah,
if a plan could happen before the end of the year, which I definitely think, especially when it comes to like your plan and the talking about it isn't just linear, because it's, you do have new player experience, you do have the, you know, the shop, the I'm totally blanking right now. I was gonna say the mechs, the mech lab, the store, the you've got the monetization model. There it is. Words, Phil.
It's late in the day.
You know, you've got all these different things too. So like, I think some will solidify really quick. You know, I'm assuming behind the scenes, it's like, yeah, like that's a.
Again, I want to make the point, because I did bring up the monetization in the store. You know, like every once in a while you see those tweets or posts or whatever, like, oh, all PGI cares about is income. The thing is, yeah, that's a huge deal, right? Yeah. It's a business. And so the only reason I want to optimize and update the store is so that when we make these changes, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons I want to optimize and update the store is so that when we make these changes and people hopefully come back and new people are coming and all that, we do good business, you know, so that we can stay alive, so that Russ goes, hey, you guys are doing something here, you know, plan the next year, plan the next 2 years, you know. So the success is going to result in more success and being able to do more. So
and if people see value, if your customers see value in it, like
absolutely,
like
we're not
like that's why I brought up that's why I brought up like the executioner. Like, it's been brought up like, hey, it's you know, it's like we players have that's been one of the biggest topics, or one of the topics that was brought up, was like, we want there to be value for these mechs, so we can, you know, like, we're ready to toss money at you, but just like the value is not there.
Even if it's just slip money, you don't have to throw it, but just like hesitantly slip some money, you know, to you know, and that's fine. Hey, I'm not expecting people to throw money at this. What I'm expecting is for us to make some positive changes that encourage people, and then it builds a momentum of people coming back in. We make bigger changes. Yeah, it's trust, and it goes both ways, and I'm fully aware of that. But a big part of our success is going to be the monetization end of it. At least that's going to be the part that enables all this magic to happen, right?
Sure. Yeah, because you got to pay engineers, you got to pay animators, you got to do all that.
Got to pay the bills.
Yeah, so that's understandable.
Yep. So, but you know, it's all goes hand in hand, and it all works together. And the monetization isn't the part that excites me. The part that excites me is, like, you know, we mentioned earlier, it's a great time to be a Mechwarrior. We still have these products. We still have life in these products, and we have a good time. You know, like I've been dropping with friends and streamers, and I'm still loving this game, man.
And it's funny because, like, if you rewind 2 years ago when me and you would be talking behind the scenes, it's like, God, we wish we could actually influence more decisions, and here you are doing exactly that. So
yeah, dude, and you're obviously a part of that process, and everybody that is listening to this is a part of that process. So it is an exciting time to be a Mechwarrior.
Yes. Well,
it's late for weekend now.
Yeah, it's late for you. It's 11 my time.
Later for you.
Yeah, I mean, we, you know, family comes, you know, we are walking, eating dinner and stuff like that. Hopefully the family's well. How's the boat going, by the way? Is it
good? I got us into the marina for the winter, so I've got a home, and I'm chill. I'm slowing down on boat projects, and yeah.
Is it getting colder?
Because it's coming into winter. Oh yeah, it's getting colder fast. Fall has arrived full on. It's getting cold. It's getting rainy. It's getting windy. In fact, today a big old fishing boat dragged about on anchor at the marina about 150 yards. There was about 10 people on the dock getting ready to basically push this boat off. Like, you know, they grab all these poles and stuff because the boat owners weren't on the boat. They just anchor it. It's a big old fishing boat, and it was 150 yards, man. The anchor dragged on the ground, and so it was coming straight for the marina, and it's pretty intense, man. Some big things happen. Boats have sank already this season. You know, people leave them, and don't know that weather's coming, man. And then you wake up the next morning and your boat's on the freaking bottom of the ocean. It's crazy. So I'm so happy to be in a marina and on a slip and
insurance.
I've got insurance. Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, I can't even tell you. I'm so relieved.
Well, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was a crazy couple months, but I can sleep again.
I was gonna say, have you got your email for the Kickstarter stuff? Did you? I just got mine earlier today for the shipping for the BattleTech Clan Invasion.
So I was not able to. I completely lost my answess to my Kickstarter.
Email them.
Well, I did.
You have Randall Bill's direct connection.
I email. Sorry, Randall, but I did email you, Randall. I didn't get any response. I'm sure he's very busy with all this stuff that's going. But I knew it was shipping. Lowry told me it was. So I told our landlord at our previous address to please tell the tenants that I have a package coming. If it doesn't automatically get forwarded to me, hopefully I still get it. Yeah, I tried, man.
We need to make that. It's going to happen.
I know.
I'm sure we can.
Dude, I just hope I get it. I'm seeing everybody talking about it now.
Yeah.
Mine arrived. They're taking pictures, or they saw their email.
I'm going to do an unboxing video.
Oh, God.
And we're going to, like, have a moment of silence for you.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know immediately whether I get mine or not. Did we get the same package?
Yeah, we did the $50. Yeah. It's like the base. Yeah, and then I picked, like, I think it was the dice, I think.
No, you know what? I did the $100 package.
Oh, did you? Oh, you upgraded then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Me and my plebeian, $50.
Yeah, but the difference is you're going to get yours and I may not get
Or
mine,
maybe it was the 75. I don't know. Maybe it was 75.
All
Maybe
I know, dude, is they look so good. And
yes.
And I'm seeing, didn't Pardo just have I think Pardo just had, yeah. So it's, again, dude, it's like we were saying at MechCon every year. It's just a great fucking time to be a mech warrior. I'm so happy about that, and it feels so good to be back in this again, man.
Yeah. I'm reaching out to Catalyst to do a podcast and, maybe some future stuff too. So the cross fingers.
Nice, dude.
So, and then Pardo's down for a podcast. So I need to be fair.
He's a good dude.
I need to be a little bit more prepared. It can't be just like this because like we know each other. We just roll with it or whatever. I need to like, what books has he written? Have I read all the books for BattleTech? I don't want to go in there half-assed.
No, I agree. You want, out of respect for who he is, you want to prepare yourself, but you don't want to necessarily over-prepare. So yeah, read a few of his books.
Yeah. I mean, I've read plenty of them.
Research.
I'm just like, I just want to
find an interview or two that he's done, so you're not asking the same questions, but yeah, you'll do fine. You'll do fine.
I'll just have my wife
I'll listen to
sit in on it and just, I mean, she's the better reader and writer and all that fun stuff. She just like sit off to the side, like, well, ask him this.
No, all you need is an earpiece, and then she can feed you the questions.
Yeah. Well, like,
yeah. Cool, man.
Well, have a great weekend.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, and of course, everyone, if you liked this information, or if you have any information for Daeron, head over to the forums, make a post, send him a DM on Twitter. Again, you guys got his email. All that information is out there. Email just one more time, just in case. Daeron.katz@piranhagames.com. And you can, you can find me on Twitter at The Bombadil Show, and on the forums, Daeron Katz. Yeah. There we go. So there you guys have
it. On Discord, Bombadil.
If you have any information. And I've got a few ideas that have been brought up, so I'm going to be talking to him on the DL. But no, just want to say thank you again, guys. If you like this video, you found it interesting, informative, whatever you found it. If you liked it, make sure to click that follow button because YouTube algorithm. People always ask, why do YouTubers ask that? That is why. It's so like it says.
It's all about the algorithm, isn't it?
Dude, just like smash it. Click that like button. Do you like this kind of stuff? Do you like BattleTech Mechwarrior? Click the freaking button. Like
here's the thing about that. Like, you're not asking for dollars. I'm sure you wouldn't mind the dollars, but you're not asking for that. If you are out there and you enjoy this in if you only like 1 out of 10 of his videos, that's fine. But like it, right? So that it helps you. It makes it so you can do more content.
It's so easy. A hobbit can do it. So what's keeping you from it? So do that.
There you go.
Of course, I do stream every single day, Monday through Friday. I will actually be streaming this weekend, but there's no times. But Monday through Friday, it's 12 to 6 p.m. I'm going to have a link for our Twitch, twitch.tv/NGNGTV. Come over there. Stay well. Interact, have fun, learn about MWO, maybe Mech 5, Battletech, whatever we're talking about. It's just sort of just a fun conversation. We just dive in. Maybe sub to the channel if you want to support, if you have the availability, if you have that, or maybe check out Patreon as well. Maybe you're doing a little bit of shopping on Amazon. We've got a link. All you got to do is click through it and we get kickbacks. Just think about it. No pressure. No pressure. There's no pressure and it adds nothing to your cost. Just saying, it's that easy. Even I can do it. And I'm pretty stupid. So you should be able. You're good. All right. This was your local No Guts, No Galaxy Mechwarrior podcast. Signing off for tonight. This is Phil.
And this is Daeron.
Until next time, Mechwarriors. He's going to come up with the devil horns. God, and your AC/DC.